Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first match of this Fabul Gauntlet semifinals between riversmccown and moonblazewolf. This is the first of this best of three match. I'm Dusty Griff, and I'm joined by Poydrick commentating tonight. Poydrick, are you excited?
I am very excited. We are down to the final four. We've been in the nitty-gritty of this tournament for a while now, but now it's serious, really serious.
Absolutely, and it's this best of three. We're going to see, I think, a lot of cool stuff come out of this, especially we're just at the elite level of runners at this point. Not to say that any of the runners in this top 32 weren't elite. We had so many good people, but we're going to see some really good plays. So we have riversmccown, who just came off of a matchup against Penguinator, which he took over Penguinator 2-1 in the round of 16, or sorry, the round of 8 round prior to this one. And moonblazewolf, who just came out of a round where he was supposed to play against another player, Nabalforce. He won that by a DQ because we had to actually disqualify Nabalforce for playing under an alias. Which was against our rule set this time around, but that's nothing to say against moonblazewolf because he's going to be fierce. He got here in every other round playing very, very well, and has been in the game for a while now, so it's going to be really quite something to see.
Yeah, as one of his victims on his route through, I can definitely say, yes, do not take moonblazewolf for granted. He is an excellent runner. This is going to be an excellent race between the two of them.
100%, yeah. Rivers, no slouch himself, took top 4 in the first Zenith zone. Took a break in the second Zenith zone, but here he is now, coming back fresh. He's just taking names here, so I think we're in for a really special match tonight.
Yeah, and it looks like we've got special names. I'm assuming Moonblaze is going with Looney Tunes there, notably Animaniacs, but I don't know Rivers. Most likely him, it's from the world of sports.
I think it's whose line it is it anyway, cast members who's going.
That works as well. But now that they've shown the characters, it looks like we've got a Purim start. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, one of the weaker starts, no doubt.
Yeah, she doesn't get a whole lot of decent gear to start off with, really based on who's our second, and Kane.
Oh, yeah, that's nice, actually. And a hook start, though, so that's promising. As people know, we like to see hook seeds around here because it often ends up being a challenging route for our runners to have to take. So,
yeah, and Kane brings the potential for some early game damage. Maybe not a whole lot because he does start out fairly weak, not as weak as some characters, but still fairly weak. But he can equip something like a dancing dagger, which is a very good source of early damage.
Absolutely, we're going to see our objectives here.
Required music. That's all that matters. I saw nothing else. Required music. We're done.
I saw raising the big whale, defending Fabul. So we have some defending Fabul's fairly free one. We're going to be able to get that out of the way pretty early. And raising the whale is one that's pretty free as well. Well, not really free, but it means that all we have to get is the darkness crystal for that one, which is guaranteed somewhere in the over and underworld. It obviously can't be gated by itself. So
yeah,
some interesting stuff here for sure.
Yeah, forging the Legend Sword with the Adamant, so there's a guaranteed Excalibur in this today. Breaking the Dark Elf spell with the Twin Harp. Package required, that seems to be a staple in a lot of seeds recently. Yeah. And riversmccown's worst nightmare.
Absolutely. This is a pretty key item heavy one, actually. We have the need for the Darkness Crystal, need for both parts of the Adamant. Or the Excal, sorry, and Twin Harp and Package. So that's a total of 5 items we need just right there. So
yeah, and well, unfortunately, Fabul Gauntlet isn't in a nice spot today. Well, nice for us as viewers. It's in the Watery Pass. So sorry, no one's going to see that today.
Really quick resets out of that. Rivers and Blaze obviously don't want to deal with that at all early here.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one's gone down the hook path to get that character and the higher tier loot that's down there.
Yeah, it is quite nice. The fact that that hook can block a character that would normally be unavailable early, since we do have some gating for our edge and foos on this flag set. So you could get some really nice stuff early, or a really nice character to push you along.
Yeah, it might be because they're seeing that there's more key items required than anything else, so they're going to get some of these early checks out of the way. We did see Teller in Baron in, and now he's on Hobbs as well. So
yeah, pretty nice to get Teller out of the way early, and also extra nice because now maybe someone will make a bit of an earlier hook play just to at least check the character, because now that they have a source of exit, they can get out really, really quick.
Yeah. Kane, they did find a rune axe in Damsion as well, so Kane has a very good weapon. Does have a slight accuracy problem, but with him in the middle, you don't really get the downside as much.
Yeah, that adds a little bit of a bonus there, and just gonna be putting down those jumps, getting a nice over 400 damage, almost 500 damage there, which is pretty good for early here.
Yeah, and then follows it up with Teller's casting Fire 1 just for the fun, I suppose.
Oh yeah, that evil wall wasn't long for this world. Pretty quick to get through that, so.
Rivers equipping up, going to give us our first key item possibility check in Antline, while Moonblaze is checking West Hobbs.
Unfortunately, that means we're not going to have Kanazo at the blocking our hook route for us today. Usually pretty nice to see him out of the way early on these seeds, just because you don't really want to deal with him in a spot where he has a lot of HP, where he has that HP-based attack, and also he hits kind of hard if he has some decent attack power. But here he's gonna hit like a not very hard at all, so wet noodle.
No. Yeah, it's really a wet noodle because this spot is, I don't think it's the weakest strength attack power in the game, but I think it's in the bottom 3.
Definitely very low, yeah. And here we're getting our check from Blaze since he got that exit with Tella. He knows now that he can just come in here, check it really quick, and leave with his character.
He's probably hoping for an early find of the trap chest here, so we can just loot the place out without any worries.
Yeah, since this is a gated area, means the loot's a little better in here, so it's always nice to really do a quick loot through, see if you can get that trap chest out of the way. You usually don't want to fight that trap chest because it's pretty annoying to deal with.
Yeah, and Antline is required. So we do have to go from Kunyats though. It's for the package. We do need to burn down the village mist today.
Yeah, that's nice for Rivers here too, because this gets this out of the way early if he does want to go through with it and see what that package character ends up being, because that's another gated character check that could be something nice here.
Mm-hmm. That was an interesting shop in Evelyn. I didn't see a whole lot of it, but I did see a dwarf axe. So Moonblaze is probably looking at that as a possibility for later once he's got a little bit of money or a little bit of expendable money under his belt to back row glitch Kane.
Yeah, always really nice to be able to back row glitch Kane, especially early when you might not have the best gear for him, might not have the best armor for him, so you want to keep him in the back row and keep him a little safe.
I'm liking the way this team is setting up today. We've got Kane, Cecil, Teller, Porum, and Palom as 5 of our guaranteed characters today. This is easy as you like, you could say. Yeah. Porum's going to learn the high tier cure spells really late, but you're not going to be worried about that because we've got ways to grind.
Yeah, we have a really nice setup already, no doubt. We have Tella, who has our weak, can set up that D machine for us, and we have Palom, who's going to learn that nuke. I think we're going to see a fairly early D machine here if we do get that Darkness Crystal early, just because why not almost?
It is incentivizing ordeals as a check, because we've got both Teller and Cecil. You do want to get all their equipment and all their better equipment and spells available. But I don't see, with the amount of key items on the needed on the table, I don't think they were going to skip it anyway today.
Yeah. And now we see crossing over paths here. Blaze going to do Antline, which Rivers already did, and Rivers going to do Hops, which Blaze already did. So.
Yeah, the only sort of extra that Moonblaze has is that Palom. Getting some early levels on Palom is going to be great for him because you want your kid to actually go quaking. And he's also picked up a cursed ring from somewhere.
Oh, very nice pickup. Yeah, I must have missed that. Because that's definitely one thing both of our runners are going to be looking for. Probably one of the pieces of gear in chests that you are most looking for in this flag set, just because it allows such easy manipulation of the agility system.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be used in the early game. It's not really as effective then because your characters are so quick compared to the enemies, but later on it's almost a necessity for some fights.
Absolutely.
And we've been told it was on Hobbs, so West Hobbs, if Rivers doesn't go over there, he's going to be missing that piece of gear.
It's an interesting one to get because I know a lot of runners definitely, for myself included, it's one of those, a bit of a coin flip, depending on how I feel on gear already. If I go deep in the Hobbs and do those checks, okay, and Rivers does get.
It was right behind the the boss. So yeah, that's a easy pickup.
Yeah, would have been extra painful had he not picked it up there, but he does, and that's going to make things nice for Rivers here in the mid to late game.
So Rivers is likely going to, now that he's got a Teller, likely going to do the same thing as Moonblaze did, which is go to Ebon or go in the complete opposite direction. Sure, why not? And Moonblaze is checking a few checks, like wait.
And Rivers.
Checking for Miss Dragon.
Yeah, Rivers is going against his own will here and doing the Fabul play, which he's so against. But as it's part of the required things to do, I understand getting it out of the way early here.
Yeah, he tends to his sort of rule of thumb is if he's got a strong team, he will not go for it. But if it's a weak team, he will stick with it and actually do it. This is sort of a mediocre team at this moment in time.
At this point, pretty medium, and I guess it's a little pushed extra because it is something that we have to do here. And we have a Bahamut run in here. Maybe not the spot that you want to see Bahamut since it's free, but still pretty quick boss. Get out of the way.
Yeah, spending a Star Veil for this. This spot can be slow, so that might not make it, especially since Kane's faster than Bahamut.
Yeah, he might. I don't think he's going to do quite enough damage here before he gets it off. Unless he gets one more jump. As Anadale points out, this might be get Porum Berserk's turn. Very good point. Porum is the one nice thing that Porum has is that she does learn Berserk quite early, earlier than Rosa does. So getting Berserk for this team, especially with your Kane, getting him online, really helps speed up fights.
Yeah, and Cecil later, we already know we're getting an Excalibur. He's just going to make it that much smoother as a later game seed.
Absolutely. We do get ourselves a loot crystal from Fabul here, so we'll see if either of our runners says, "I'll check this before diving Underworld," or if they'll maybe just loot the treasury and move on. Or skip it altogether.
Personally, I'd just go for the treasury and move on. At this moment in time, we've got an okay team, but it's not really something that can take on Tower Zot.
Yeah.
But the treasury is just very, very tasty right now. This is early enough that anything you get there is just going to be fairly good, either as money or actual equipment.
Yeah, I'm thinking it would be pretty nice to see a defense sword or a white spear, dragoon spear. Lots of nice things. I bet Rivers is eyeing here. So.
Yeah, it is a 1% chance for a tier 7 piece of gear, so we could be seeing things like that white spear. We could even see a crystal sword get pulled out of here.
Yeah.
2 dragon whips. Okay, Hourglass 2 is very nice.
2 Hourglass 2s and a power shirt. Really, actually, quite a nice set treasury there.
Yeah, a source rope and a charm arm rod. Charm rod is very good for Palom once it comes along. Once he comes along.
Yeah, I would be very pleased with that treasury if I was Rivers. Those 2 hourglasses alone can come into a lot of handiness later.
And well, I see why Moonblaze didn't buy a dwarf axe, because he actually already has one.
Ah.
So we do have a backroad cane.
Yeah, that's really nice here.
Yeah, 30,000 GP at this early stage. That's a fair amount of money that you'd be happy to spend on some of the necessities of the seed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're seeing some shopping checks coming here. A little bit checking Silvera. I guess Blaze might be getting set up to maybe go down to ordeals now, so just doing this on the way, which makes a lot of sense considering the team he does have already has that Cecil ready to get him online.
Yeah, he still needs to do that Fabul check, but Rivers still needs to go to Eblin. I think he might be just saying, yeah, I've got this hook, but let's do the other checks. I've got a team that can take on the overworld at the moment. I don't need the extra character yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling as well.
Plus, it's not like they haven't found some very decent loot options so far. So, Eblin Cave actually looks very mediocre at the moment, actually.
Yeah, and I can respect that here because Rivers does have that cane with the power shirt, rune axe on. He's going to be able to rip through these bosses pretty easily, unless he gets something particularly trolly. But I think for the most part, he's going to be through this pretty quickly.
Yeah, Octomam in the first spot. This is no problem at all. I actually think this is the weakest attack spot in the game. So, yeah, Octomam is not going to be any issues here at all.
No, absolutely. And we're getting almost a mirror image here as we get Blaze coming to fight right after Rivers here.
Yeah. Moonblaze is coming in with a full team, and I am suddenly noticing that Rivers did check that package, but he doesn't have Cecil.
Yeah, he didn't go through with a Kaipo check just yet. Maybe saying, I'll come back to this at another time. Didn't want to commit to it just at the moment, I suppose. Maybe he wanted to not have Cecil in his party and take up turns, because he's not going to be super useful until he's actually Pally. So, kind of understand it.
And back attack today, Calbrenner Dolls.
Not bad at all here. We'll see if they picked up any J items along the way. I think I saw a couple things come up, so
yeah, I've seen
something get thrown out.
Yeah, I've seen a guide drum, but I believe Rivers used that in a earlier fight. He still does have a grimoire, so
yeah, Leviathan definitely going to do enough damage to
yeah.
them out here.
Yeah, that's pretty much 6 times the amount of hit points this place actually has as a maximum.
Yeah.
So probably Moonblaze is going to have just about as much easier time. So not looking into the inventory. Maybe doesn't have one of those items. Maybe sold them.
He does have the 2 twins, so he could try and do a twin here and might get
Yeah, here comes the twin magic. Since this spot doesn't have these Calbrenna dolls, the front ones have less than 150. The back ones, I believe, 270, something like that. As twin cast should finish it off.
Yeah, not too much health here at all. Ooh, and did roll that flare. A little less damage than he wants there.
Yeah, I don't believe Palom has a whole lot of.
Oh,
really? One Leviathan, one Bahamut.
No, I mean, really,
Where are
runners.
these rolls when we want them?
Seriously, right? Yeah, this is just, come on, guys. You know, what kind of luck gods are we praying to here tonight? We get Leviathan, we get Bahamut. We've got it all here on our deals tonight.
Then again, I was one of the people earlier in this tournament that rolled Odin on a double King Ryu fight in the against the Gauntlet on the moon. So I have no reason to talk, do I?
Actually, just the item. I guess it was Pan there from Ordeals.
I was just waiting for confirmation on Moonblaze, but it looks like Pan is on Rivers, so that seems like our destination. And as soon as we get to into the underground, and I missed it on Riverside, but Ogo Pogo on in the Crystal Room, seems like we've got a very simple moon coming up if we have to go there.
Then that hook route probably not going to be too bad either. I actually missed what the boss was when Blaze went and checked that, but we've seen a lot of bad bosses taken out of the pool already. So this is going to be interesting to see how fast things are going to go once our players do get to that mid to late game.
Yeah, Odin is probably one of the most dangerous ones that I can see at the moment. DKC at the King Queen Evelyn spot could be a source of concern.
We did see Odin in that Baron spot, I believe, at Bike at the beginning. So we do at least have him out of the pool, which, again, another one that our players don't have to worry about here.
So Teller and Cecil online for Moonblaze. Be interesting to see if he's got any strong equipment for Cecil at this moment in time. Teller, you can really get away with not having too much, but Cecil really wants that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see elements here, actually. The second spot in the Baron Inn.
Yeah, it's not leg at the moment. There's your leg, chat. He just needed a little bit to come on out.
Rivers is going to take care of this very quickly. Gets a jump in, then a nice 2 immediately after. That's enough damage to pass the threshold. That was just killed before it switches to another form. So very nice play there. And just a samurai bow hanging out in Baronet.
Not really a whole lot of equipment for Cecil at the moment, and a fire sword at the best, but we haven't really done a whole lot of high tier checks for Moonblaze, so yeah, it's not really a whole lot of surprise.
No, absolutely, and still a lot of the seed to go here. That's one of the things I definitely find, as well as that early in the seed, kind of hard to get Cecil online as much as you want to, just because, again, like you said, he wants that high tier gear, but unfortunately it's usually pretty hard to find, or you have to find your Legend Sword and Adamant, which is guaranteed in this seed because we do need that for the end game.
Yeah. And Rivers is wanting to prove me wrong at every moment today, because not only did he not go to Evelyn and went to Fabul, instead, he's just geared up Teller very well when I just said that you don't really need a whole lot on Teller, and also making the play to Zot when I said it's sort of not the team you want to go to Zot with.
Rivers marching to the beat of his own drum here. This doesn't follow any of our rules. And he's checking the chests even on the way up here. Doesn't Flame Dog wouldn't take too long to kill and would also possibly give a really nice piece of gear. So I can kind of understand it here.
Yeah.
He just wants to get this done, I guess, which is yeah, it's a little bit of a different play that you may not always see, but kind of liking it here.
Yeah. Yeah, just checking the two first checks because they're not too far out of the way, and the other four up here are. You have to go through a little bit of a winding path.
Definitely, the density gets too low at that point, and then the worth is definitely much lower than this first level. Yeah, but Dr. Lagai hanging out here is going to be a bit of an annoying fight, but since that HB is going to be pieced out between the four parts, not going to be too much for him to get through.
And with Kane jumping with that rune axe and the viruses from Teller, which will actually be doing a fair amount of damage at this moment in time. Yeah, this is definitely a very doable fight.
Almost getting 1,000 damage on that televirus. Gotta say, I'm pretty impressed, yeah. And we probably won't see it explode for Belknap here. Just because, yeah, did enough damage.
Yeah. So, yeah, don't sit on Teller, people. He can do work if you give him some stuff.
We're just going to try and throw down the Zerk here. Actually, he jumped first.
Considering in the state of his team only having the 3 characters at the moment, it makes sense to just get Teller doing as much as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. You want to get... when you only have 3 characters at this point, you want to make sure those 3 characters are going to stay alive and be as useful as they can be. And maybe sometimes that might be, you put a curse ring on them and that's what they're there for. But other times you might want them to wear some, or tell them to wear that decent gear and do a little bit of damage for you. And here I think it paid off for him because those were pretty good set of Lugai fights there. Got through it pretty nicely.
Yeah, the only just got poisoned, but that's what tents are for. No, ridding that status effect. Just healing up before this potential unknown fight. Going through this long cutscene. This could be anything. Just make sure you're ready.
We have Blaze coming over, doing a bit of looting at Troya here. Maybe just doing that on the way to Fabul, and gonna do Fabul as well. Oh my goodness. And we have a Fu.
And we know that's Waterhag at the second boss in Dwarf Castle as well.
Right, yeah, because we've already seen that Gauntlet. We've seen that waterfall early on. So we know that that's Waterhag there. We have ourselves a Fu. This seed is going to start going pretty fast. And actually, Rivers gets paid off for not doing the full Kaipo check there and getting that Cecil. Gets a Cecil for free anyways.
Yeah. I said, Ned, we had a very good team set up beforehand. Now we've got a setup that everyone will play with.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be it. This seed's going to be pretty fast. I think we're going to see a lot of objectives get cleared pretty quickly here. Even if this hook route is kind of nasty, doesn't matter that much because we have a team that can deal with mostly anything here.
Yeah, Fu breaks open a whole lot more than just the moon. He just breaks the entire game in most cases, especially when you get him early enough. And
Demas. We don't even have to search for Demas here. All right. Too easy of a seed. Reroll.
So my worry for moonblazewolf at this moment in time is if he puts off the Tower of Zot check. Because if he does that, Rivers is just going to accelerate with his Fu. And he's already done a couple of extra tech checks in front of Moonblaze, so it's going to be tough for him to just come back.
Yeah, at this point, it's a little rough here because, just like you said, he has a decision to make if he wants to go through with that Earth Crystal, which he did just pick up for Fabul, which he is going through with now. Not too far behind Rivers here. He has already done that cutscene and checked the chest in Evlon, so he might pick up a little bit there because Rivers may opt to do some checks there. Kind of depends what the items are here. He may never check that hook if we do get a magma key.
Yeah.
So
It's also, he could just be coming over here to get the items in the treasury.
absolutely true.
Until we see him go up to that Zot, to the actual Tower of Zot, we can't really say what he's doing.
And that's the darkness crystal from. Oh my goodness.
So, does anyone want to see grinding for the next 10, 15 minutes? Because I do believe that's what we're going to get.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here. There's kind of two ways of going about this in terms of you could grind, or you already have that foo. You're powerful enough. You just say, well, I'll grind later once I do have my 10 key items. That foo's going to carry me through this seed, and I'm not going to worry too much about getting my grind done until later. So either one, I think, is a totally fair option. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, Moonblaze was he did not exit out. He's not going elsewhere. He's going up to the Tower of Zot. He's going to pick up the Fu and the duplicate Cecil, get the Darkness Crystal, and they're going to be pretty much neck and neck. It's going to be really who does their grind that little bit more efficiently.
Yeah, no doubt here, and how they split off as well, because we could see someone want to go to the moon straight up, and not go through that hook route until a little later. See if that moon has a magma key for them, has their other items that they need. They still need a whole bunch of items for seed.
Yeah, we still need the Twin Heart. We still need both pieces of the Excalibur, the Adamant, and the Legend Sword.
Yeah.
That we do pretty much have access to all key item locations now. It's just which ones do you check first? As long as we can find the ones that are gated behind other key items, of course.
Absolutely. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties over on River Stream, it looks like. Hopefully we'll work on getting that up sooner or later. And we do see Blaze going into that Dr. Lagai fight that Rivers just got through not too long ago. See how he deals with this here.
Yeah, as Invenerable is saying in chat, all of our runners should be doing a local recording. We like to be a little bit thorough here, just to make sure if there are any issues. Rivers, being one of our admins, knows all the rules. He should be doing this, doing it just as much as everyone else. But our restreamer Valveless Skunk, he will be on that and we'll be getting his stream up just as soon as possible. So please bear with us while Rivers takes a bit of a black screen time.
Absolutely. And with that, I think we should shout out our restream team here tonight. Imperial Dragon doing tracking for us, and Valval Skunk on the restream. Thank you very much to our team here, bringing you the show. This fast seed, too fast, I say, too fast, but
well, some might say it's too furious, but the berserks aren't really coming out, so we can't say that, can we?
This is true.
Did Teller just cast exit?
I may have. I've done that more than I'd like to admit. Accidentally moved my finger over to trying to cast, a cure life or whatever, and then actually no, I'm casting exit now. Whoops.
Oh, okay,
Rivers
that's better.
is back. Rivers is back. Looks like he's clearing out probably that mist cave there.
Yeah, we got a face full of orb.
Yeah. Gets himself a Meteo out of that. Wants to get those extra foo power ups, the free ones while he can. Very fair. Very nice to get out of the way earlier. And again, going to Not sure if Rivers actually checked what that. Oh no, he's getting his
No.
hovercraft here now. He
He
actually
hasn't even raised the hovercraft yet,
Oh,
so
it does have that pink tail as well from that DMS to check, so we could get some nice gear from that as well.
yeah, it's guaranteed a top tier 7 gear. We could see something like a crystal sword, as some people have pointed out, but we could also find something like a Murasame, which not exactly Edge's preferred katana. It's okay, but we also don't have Edge in the seed.
Yeah, that's the one painful thing about the pink tail on this flag. That sometimes it's like, oh great, here's an item that I can never actually use. I can sell it, I guess. And this may be one of those items. So we get a Bahamut.
It's one of those items. Hello, Bahamut. You're not going to be picking up Iridia with this team, Aim.
No,
So
at this point, you're going to say, you know what? I don't think Iridia is going to add that much to my team. So
yeah, we are still missing one of the characters, but really we're not expecting anything. And Rivers is going to the moon.
yeah, he actually left his hovercraft over at the Adamant Cave. So I think he's straight up just going to the moon and start clearing some spots here.
More likely to grind. He's just picked up Fu. He's just picked up Cecil. Cecil's likely still very low level.
It's possible as well, for sure.
Oh, slingshotting a Fu, slingshotting a Cecil is going to just make the seeds so much easier, especially once you get hold of that Excalibur later.
Yeah, we see Blaze getting his Fu as well. Gonna get through this Demas really quickly here. Already has that Quake, just a couple hits, easy peasy.
Yeah, we're still waiting on our 7th, but with it being any of 8 characters at this moment in time, you can't really plan for anything. You just got to go with what you find.
Yeah. And looks like Rivers actually got the whale down. Check the spells. I'm not sure. Maybe he doesn't have weak head yet, or maybe he wants to just check the character here,
Well,
which is also
he's got Tella, so he's definitely got weak.
I'm wondering if he wants to get rid of Tella on the moon, maybe, or something, which is why he's checking the spells there, because he double checked Fu spells again. But
it does.
He is going to check here. Going to get the Palom, which is really nice for him because he can slingshot Palom very well.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes back to something I heard Invenerable say very recently, and that is, if you have a Fu, it actually reduces the need for a grind, because Fu can just get you through a whole lot of the seed all by his lonesome. So that might be what Rivers is thinking as well. Why I do a grind right now when I can still get through everything that I need to? Let's find these key items. Let's do my grind later when I actually can do it. Actually need it for certain.
Yeah, absolutely good point. And he's getting his Palom here. See if he picks him up. I'd say he will here. And see if he actually goes through with this, or if he does turn around and say, I'm going to go get my grind on now.
Yeah, it is a lunar sparkle. So we have about as much information as we had before. But we know it's definitely not going to be Wyvern, because
we already have Ogo out of the pool, so we have some of the nastiness already gone from here. The remaining bosses, pretty well easy to deal with. Pildam, nothing too complicated. D-Lunars as well, same thing. We have Medio and also Frog Strats, a lot of ways to deal with them. And Plague is also pretty trivial for Rivers to deal with here. I mean, once you have Fu, most things are trivial, so just kind of the way it goes. But
yeah, plague isn't a problem because even if we didn't have food, we've got agility in manipulations because we've got that cursed ring. So it's not as hard a fight as as some might think. I think, as you said, frog strats for the Lunas, very easy to just make use of as the fight goes on. And Pale Dim, all he does really is punch, and we've got a Cecil with a whole lot of defense and cover.
So Rivers actually said see you later to that Porum and Topalum, which I totally understand here. You want that Tela for, like you said earlier, nice source of weak. Oh, we have double Lunar Sparkles here, actually. So we have Plague in this first spot. That means that we're going to be stuck with Pale Dim or Lunars at the second spot.
Nothing too dangerous here. As viewers, you really want to see a high physical damage boss here because it just hits so hard. As a runner though, Plague is definitely one you don't mind seeing.
No, very easy. Lots of ways to deal with it. Nothing for anyone here to worry about. Also going to be another boss for Fu. He's only 2 away from having all spells at this point, which it looks like he's missing Nuke just yet, so we probably look at it very soon.
That's the last set, just because he's one boss off of having it for the next fight.
Yeah, so this is the second last set here, and the last set after this next fight. So,
well, at least I can call some things right. Just making sure he's not risking anything. Heading back, getting that save on. Yeah, this fight should be academic for him to get through. However, things can always go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not too much for things to go south sometimes if something's played incorrectly or you do a menu or something like that. Things can go south pretty quickly on some of these fights. But like you said, we're probably going to see this played pretty accurately. Yeah. And Blaze is really close behind here. Really, at this point, they're pretty well neck and neck still. I mean, only one fight behind, which really is not very long at all. This fight, again, would be very, very fast for Blaze here. And also, Blaze is actually one spell set ahead of Rivers here. So he's going to have his nuke for this next fight.
Yeah. This is because he's done the Kaipo in fight as well. So that one extra fight could see him get through this D-Luna second fight that little bit quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing him doing fire strats here. Plague going down. Rivers playing against these D-Lunars. We're going to see the sea get busted wide open right after these two get to the underworld, and hopefully maybe see some divergent plays, see what people choose to do. Probably pretty quickly turn in that pan, find out what the items are from that, as well as some other checks. But from there, lots of options open.
Yeah. Even Teller's getting in the action with the fire freeze. I think he's got the curse ring equipped, so it's not exactly doing a whole lot, but yeah. And here come the Star Veils.
Got that curse ring giving negative 15 to all stats. Really hurts Tella's usefulness, as he already doesn't have the best of stats. But at the same point, he still can do some stuff and put a little bit depending on what it is.
Yeah. And he's already proven his work as a damage dealer early on in the seed with some decent equipment on River's side. But it's the Fu show now, so...
Rivers is through to the underworld. We're there at 41-32 through that fight. So not bad at all, considering they've also got the Earth Crystal, or Sot, done ahead of this as well in the package check. So really quick play by our runners here.
Yeah. I expect a quick peek to the right here, just to see what the boss is at the top, because it seems like the standard play nowadays, and that's a Mylon.
is a Mylon there, hanging out.
So it's not. We don't have a tower key, but keyless tower is a fairly popular play for some people. We might see that fight sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we have 3 key items that we're still looking for here. From the old underworld here, we have Feymarch chests and the 2 Feymarch fights, Dwarf Castle, and our Pant turn-ins, as well as, like you said, that keyless tower play. So we've got some options. And
and we have a frog.
Frog strat's probably one of the greatest things to come out of the first Seamus zone by runner Dipwood. That was discovered by him, and ever since has been a staple of the community, I believe.
Well, it's just so adorable. Why not have a lunar dragon changed into a frog instead? It's much easier on the eyes.
Absolutely. I mean, those frogs, they're so cute there. You almost don't want to have to end the fight, but I mean, you can only do something.
Yeah, that other D lunar definitely doesn't like it though, so he's going to just cast virus on that frog. We've got to kill that other one. It's just not fair. You don't pick.
Healing up his foo here, getting them back online. Definitely want some of that damage, and the fires are coming in at this point, since it is the remaining D lunar. And plays us through the underworld through that fight, just around 44 minutes. Not bad at all. And like we said earlier, just going to see a lot of checks come in here, one after the other, to see what key items we're going to find in the underworld.
Yeah, that pan check being the first thing on River's mind, not really a surprise. Is get Fabul out of the way so he doesn't have to think about it again, and he's already had to come here twice. That's already more than he wanted.
Yeah, River's a big fan of fading Fabul early, as we say, in terms of skipping it and then trying to get to it later and do it as a check when you either have pan or you can do Sheila 1 without the pan.
And wow, Sheila does not have the goods for once.
River's so mad he resets right out. I don't blame him. Yeah, that was a whole lot of nothing there with Sheila.
So he could have. Well, the Fabul was the Earth Crystal, wasn't it? And that did give a foo. So yeah, he could have only just done it once and been done with it.
Yeah, it went the other way this time around. I was seeing him going in the Feymarch. Totally understandable play here. And plays actually also checking Feymarch first. Also, don't hate this play because you get that free chest. Check those bosses. You got the foo. Depending what the bosses are, you might say, I'll give them a shot right now, or I know what they are for later to come back and try them. I'm feeling a little more comfortable. But especially if it's a boss that doesn't have the boss bit, foo can tear him down pretty quickly. River's actually getting through, getting a Quake off this warrior fight. And just a stack of Artemis arrows there.
Valvis and Mega Sisters in the Mega Sisters is a doable fight. Valvis isn't too bad, but you really don't want to deal with that fight.
No. Time consuming, just going to be really irritating to deal with. Totally understand saying, you know what, I'm not going to deal with these right now. Mega Sisters, like you said, doable for sure. Again, a little bit of time to get through it, but since that HP is split those 3 ways, not so bad.
Yeah, I think Cindy will have about 10,000, while the others have around about 8,000 and 7,000 each between them. So, yeah, something we did miss out on though is we did get the pass from the sylphs themselves. So even though Sheila doesn't have anything, the sylphs are giving a very nice item.
Yeah, not bad at all. That's going to be really nice to have. Pretty well, I shouldn't even say pretty likely. Very likely our runners are going to get the crystal. Well, it's for sure that the runners are going to get the crystal when they are on the Earth, because our two last remaining objectives are that we have to turn and do that twin harp, and we also have to forge the X-Gal. So those are two Earth quests. So we're not going to get that crystal on the moon. Which means that makes it a lot easier to not have to come back if we do end up on the moon, and could just go right through that pass door and finish up the seed once we are ready.
Yeah. Looks like they're handing in the rat tail now. Let's see what we get as an item. And where are all the key items today?
We're getting samurai gear, cat claws. The seed was too generous early. At this point, it's saying, "Yeah, no, what? I'm gonna make you work for it a little bit."
And Rivers is going right back underground, probably disgusted with his finds, and because he's so disgusted, he's going to go and do Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, can't. Don't hate this play here. Getting the Dwarf Castle check out of the way. Not too long of a check. Also, when you don't want to have to go through that tower without your key, it's pretty good. Blaze also resetting after that Sheila check.
I think Rivers and Moonblaze have come to the general consensus that the pan is actually more valuable than the items Sheila gave.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that at this point. And following right in River's footsteps, and not far behind at all. Like we were saying earlier, this is still extremely close. It's gonna be really interesting to see after this point how it plays out. If they decide, if anyone does do that keyless tower play, or if this leads to no other key items that gets us somewhere on the Earth. If we just say, hey, let's go to the moon and see what's there.
Yeah, and Dwarf Castle is basically free today. Yang in the first spot. We do have a almost instant win in with this because we have a Paladin Cecil in the team, and we know that Waterhag is our second boss here. So yeah, this is free as you like.
Yeah, that Yang has that interesting win condition where Cecil can attack after Yan's second kick and get the ouch prompt, which ends the fight immediately. So pretty nice here.
Yeah, Rivers still has that Palom at level 10, so looking like that is going to be a slingshot thing for later. Setting that up.
Yeah, it's pretty great idea here. Just for the fact of Palom, you don't need a ton of levels on your fighters in order to get them online, but Palom, of course, you want them to get that nuke. It's not until level 50. It's around 900,000 experience total to get them there. So it takes a little bit.
That was Yang, and Rivers instantly dismissed him. I might have actually considered him as a option at the moment. And
yeah, that's so does Blaze. This says, get out of here.
Yeah, I might just be different, but I would have considered him as an option for another one to slingshot along with Palom.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't hate him for another one to slingshot. I understand at this point, especially if you have some decent gear for your hitters. You might say, well, I'm not going to worry too much about getting Yang, but like you said, slingshotting Yang, he doesn't need gear. Once he gets up to those levels, he hits hard. So,
and they did just get that cat claw.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
yes, Invulnerable rather sells them for cash, but if you've got a Yang and a cat claw, do you really need anything else?
You know, that's a good point. And we're going to see our item here real quick around Riverside. We'll see if we stick around the Earth any longer. If we say, let's go to that moon. Oh, and there's a magma key. Not exactly what you want to see from here. Another key item to kick up to that 10 key item count pretty quickly here. We're already up to 7 on Riverside. So, and this could be 7 on Blaze's side as well, quickly.
Yeah. The only
I can't count. That's actually 8, but
yeah, the only key item locations now are really the Keyless Tower or the Flame March bosses, or the moon. Personally, I would have done a grind ages ago, but I'm not these runners. They're likely going to be doing much more consistent and more available strats to them, and Rivers is going to the moon.
Yeah, that's like I was mentioned earlier. I think you can really lean on that Fu. As we discussed, though, you know, that's the interesting play on these flags is you can't say, hey, I have the team ready for the grind. If I want to do this early, why don't I just do it? But sometimes you might want to say, hey, I can lean on this Fu. I have enough gear for my people to just continue on and do bosses and not worry. But it's an interesting thing to have to make. And we do actually see Blaze diving into this Keyless Tower. I like this here.
Yeah, he's seen that the boss is a Mylon variant up the top. Mylon is not really a threat in this particular location in either case, so he's seen this as a more available check to him.
Yeah. Interesting thing about Keyless Tower and why I've actually kind of grown or come around to this play, I actually think it's a nice play sometimes, is that you can make that save at the bottom of the tower. If it's garbage at the top, you know, you reset out. You don't worry about it. But at the same time, if it rabbit holes you into something that doesn't lead to something you need, kind of sucks. But at the same time, we have a lot of key items open at this point, and we still need 3 of them to get the crystal for the seed.
Yeah, there's a very good chance that this will give something that either leads to something you need or something itself.
Gonna life up our characters a little bit here and see what Mylon is holding for us.
And Rivers is diving all the way down and turning on encounters on floor 4.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, looks like he might be looking for that Warlock encounter here, I believe. It's the one here. Or maybe I think there might be also be double reuse here. I can't remember.
Yeah, there's double King reuse. There's
we do have
the 3 Warlocks.
We do have those 2 hourglasses we found earlier, so he does feel like using that is definitely up for grabs.
Single King Ryu is fair enough. That's still 60,000 experience.
Yeah, it looks like he might just pick up a little bit of experience for.
Sorry, 30,000 experience is 60 for 2.
Yeah, 60 for 2, 60 if you light push 1, but you can't light push 1 if you don't have another one in the fight, of course. And do you see Dwarf Axe being thrown at Mylon here? I'd say he's pretty close to dead at this point. Some quakes going down. And Mylon's off the screen, so we're going to see what item that Blaze gets out of this.
Yeah, this is the fight you want to see, and has a couple of Hourglass 2s. So this is going to slingshot your Palom, I think, to around level 40.
And we do get a spoon out of that tower. Blaze's screen, not what you want to see here. It does bring him 1 closer to getting that 10 key items, but a bit of a time sink that he's probably not going to be too pleased with. It'll be interesting to see if he says, you know what, cut my losses and go to the moon at this point, or I'm just going to clear everything and try those Flame March bosses now.
The other thing that might be good for Moonblaze is that it was a bit of a time sink, but it didn't waste anything more than that because it wasn't a rabbit hole.
Absolutely. Sometimes you got to be grateful that it's not a key item that leads to another, that leads to nothing.
Yeah, that spoon could have been at the end of the Luke cave after having to go through Baron. So
yeah, that would not be too fun.
And he's now raising the big wealth for objective number 1, and we'll see where he goes from there. It's likely either Moon. I don't see him doing the grind at this moment in time because he seems to be on this sort of let's wait 8 until I've got 10 key items mindset.
Especially when you sit in at that 9, it's just too it feels pretty bad when you go and do that grind, especially if you don't have to do the grind just yet. When you do have 9, so close.
So likely going to go to the Moon and follow rivers down into the lunar subterranean. Will we go top down or bottom up? Rivers has chosen the bottom up route. And of course, starting with the two chests in the ribbon room.
Ooh, and if we do have Azura here, not necessarily a hard fight, but just a bit of an annoying fight to deal with.
Yeah, it does.
We do have that Rune X that's going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, that Rune X is the sort of kicker here, just to speed this fight along. Otherwise, it would be very slow and fairly dangerous, I would suppose, as well.
Yeah, we actually see him throwing down blinks here because he exactly that. He wants to zerk up that Rune X user and get to a point where Azure is going to be hitting back but not killing off the characters. He cares about getting the 100k experience that he's going to get out of this.
Having Cecil cover up Kane as well, not really necessary with all the blinks going up.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty low amount of hits to get Azura killed here with that Rune X too. Even though there is a lot of HP here, 40,000, shouldn't take too long.
Elven Bow, Artemis Arrows. I think Cecil's going to get in on the Mage Slaying.
Yeah, that's actually going to hurt pretty bad there. Those Arty arrows, very nice arrows, and Elven Bow also hits that Mage weakness. So, and Kane doing 9,600 damage with this sword.
Will Cecil actually get to shoot an arrow?
That's a great question.
Yeah, you're seeing a really big variant in the accuracy with that Rune X. Sometimes 4,000 and sometimes 9,000, and everything in between. But this is just going very smoothly, and with the wall on Asura now, you have no worries.
Probably one more hit if I had to guess left here. I haven't been counting the damage, but I don't think Azure is lying for this world for much longer.
Yeah, Moonblaze is going Wyvern first, taking inspiration from Demarine.
Actually, this has been something that I also enjoy doing sometimes. Did it in the race that I actually got out on.
Oh, you don't want to see this one in this particular fight.
Yeah, I don't love seeing Antline here. Hopefully it should be too bad. We do have blink sources and whatnot. Heroin robe and a tiara, two things that are fairly useless. And by fairly, I mean completely useless for the team that we have from that ribbon spot, unfortunately. Oh, and Antlion is just taking down Blaze's members pretty quickly here. It's hurting pretty bad.
Yeah, it does have blink up on Teller and Palom, but yeah, this spot does like to hit very, very hard.
Oh, we do have a free fight at our plague spot here. Officer and 3 soldier fight. Gotta milk this for a little extra experience.
Yeah, it doesn't have the 10 key items, so it's not really a whole lot of experience that you'll be getting here.
And this is a very low experience spot for the moon, unfortunately, in comparison to the other spots at least. Not really the one that you want to see this fight in.
I think the upshot of it is that these guards can't really hurt you now with the officer down, so you can just make sure your team is ready. Although Palom does lose out on that experience.
Yeah, not too bad. 45,000 would have been a little extra for him there. We do have our adamant, so we do get required item here from this spike spot.
And Antlion gives some wine. That's not actually too bad.
You know, we've seen worse items already in this scene. So at the end of the day, you know, not so rough, but a very well played fight by Blaze there to get through that Antlion.
Yeah.
Definitely need some high level play for that because Antlion hurts and, you know, you only have so much damage to use there. So well done by Blaze.
Yeah. It all basically came from Fu. As we said earlier, Fu opens up the seed and is showing it here. This moon sort of is resolving around him and that rune axe.
Yep, leaning on that Fu heavily. Ooh, and we have a Baigen in that Ogopogo spot. Baigen, pretty mean here, can actually be really rude.
Yeah. We weren't. We said earlier there wasn't too many dangerous bosses left, but Baigen definitely is one of them, especially in a spot like this.
Yeah, fast, gonna be hitting hard. He's gonna be regenerating his arms pretty quickly. A lot going to be going on here, so a lot to think about.
Yeah, and has a fair amount of hit points as well, because the arms don't really have take up a whole lot of it. It's mostly on the body. And with those arms being recovered, it's just more hit points that you have to chew through.
Yeah, exactly. And the one problem with the quakes here is that once you do quake and kill the arms, if you do subsequent quakes before the arms actually regen and target them as well, it doesn't do damage to the arms. So it gets a little tough if you're trying to outlast that damage and then hopefully not get wrecked or hit too hard by them.
Yeah, Moonblaze is in the correct fight for this to get his 10th key item, so he is going to be accelerating his experience gain very soon, and he still has to do that Asura fight, so he's going to get an extra 100,000 experience just from that.
Yeah, that's very nice here, and that's going to pay off for him in terms of getting him to catch up a little bit, because he's a little bit behind Rivers on this moon check here, but not by much at all, like you were saying.
So there's his adamant. He's going to be very happy for that, not only because it's required, but because of that 10th key item. He will likely be going next door, looking in to finish that fight and get his just rewards.
And this Bakken fight definitely taking some time. Like you mentioned, that main body has a lot of HP here, and it's not something that you can really quickly get through in any great way at this point in the seed with some further levels and whatnot. So just going to be a bit of a slog of a fight.
That's a very convenient Aegis shield. I've just noticed that they've got it, but Aegis Shield protects against mage types mages, and Asura, being a mage,
definitely helpful for this fight here. So that's gonna be very nice. See, Rivers is through the main body, so we're just gonna wait and see if the arms explode and who they kill if they do. He is getting a quake off, so if they do explode, it shouldn't be too much damage. And he's through.
Yeah. So we're getting down to a very few amount of key item locations left, so this is a very good chance of being one. And it's the one he probably didn't want to see.
Yeah, we get a Luca key out of that. That means we got a bit more rabbit hole chasing to do, if he so chooses to do it sooner than later at this point. But we're likely going to see River say, well, clear the rest of this moon out, and we'll see what else there is on the earth afterwards.
Yeah, there's no reason not to clear the moon. You've only got a Luca key as something down on the earth at this moment in time, apart from the Feymarsh bosses and the top of tower. Moon is just much more the safer play at this time. I say that, and he's going over to see Antlion.
Yeah, the one fight that's not going to be too fun for him either here. Like we saw earlier with Blaze, that was a little bit of a slog of a fight. Not as much of a slog as that Bagan fight. I think it's going to be. It's also not going to be too fun for Blaze either. With of course same team going on here, but going to take some time to get through this. Pinktail was at the Demas scratch. Asking in chat.
So, potential stumbling blocks that we haven't seen yet. It's been mentioned Golbez in the chat, but we also haven't seen Wyvern yet.
Yeah, still haven't seen Wyvern, and he could be in that sealed spot, which is really annoying to deal with. Of course, we do have the curse string, makes things really easy to deal with agility-wise. If we didn't have that, it would be a lot more interesting. But at this point, still something to deal with. Could be in the Bahamut Cave too. We haven't actually seen that just yet.
Don't think we've got really any other dangerous bosses that we haven't seen. In possibly Rubicante could be in one of those high magic spots, which would make him a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, and really the only spot that we're going to be really worried about at this point is that Bahamut Cave and that sealed cave as well. Just due to the fact that we don't have to clear the giant on the seed, there's no real reason to. And we've already cleared pretty much all the moon here. We've seen everything except for that Bahamut Cave at this point.
We haven't seen the Pale Dim spot yet either.
Oh, the Pale Dim spot, that's true. Absolutely.
But that's pretty much on their radar for being done almost after these next fights. So after Moonblazer's done Baigan, and almost pretty much the next thing that Rivers is going to go and do. So he's going to see that Bacchus, take a sip of his own drink, and go, yeah, I might as well take this. Free refill.
Yeah, nice item to have around, especially for the Zero Miss fight later. It's very nice to say, well, throw this on one of my fighters if I want to play the fight that way, and go from there. He's going to do a quick heal here and go on in. We do see Blaze over in that Baigan fight, going to go through his own slog. Got through that Azura fight just fine.
Yeah. Out come the blinks because, well, it's overpowered.
Yeah. Blink, very useful spell for physical bosses, and honestly with this team you have such a nice setup for it, being able to get several off. Even with that curse string on, doesn't matter too much. And River's actually saying, I'm not going to clear it, proving both of us wrong here. I'm going back to Earth. I'm going to see what that Steel Cave has for me.
I'm almost certain he's listening to us and doing the opposite thing right now.
It's a conspiracy over here. I don't hate it, especially when you can just get the sealed check very quickly. You're not looking for any bosses. You're not looking for demist or anything. You're only looking to see what the key item is. The only problem being, of course, this leads to a rabbit hole. You may feel like you want to, like they have to complete it. So if it is, you know, Baron Key or something like that.
I would like this play more if it was just one key item we require, but we don't. We need two. We still need the Twin Harp and the Legend Sword.
Yeah. You would almost, in a way, you would almost hope for Baron Key here, just for the fact of, or well, if you did get Twin Harp, I suppose that could also lead to the Legend Sword after completing it as well. Or Baron Key could lead to both Twin Harp and Legend Sword too. So there's a few ways of going through it, I suppose.
The other possibility is the tower key. I think that would be the probably one of the worst options for him, because he's going to go through that Mylon fight up the top and get the spoon, and that's going to be a time sink for him. Sure, he might get something from the tower, the cannon room itself, but that's still two fights he'll need to go through, because I doubt he'll just leave the top of the tower on the table without checking it.
Yeah, I agree on that. I think he would say, well, I have both, I'm going to do both, so.
So here's the moment of truth.
Oh, and it is that Baron Key, so the rabbit hole opens up. See if Rivers jumps in. I believe he will here.
And we're also going to get a quick peek of the boss, and
like a little Ruby down here.
Chat is happy.
Chat is happy, of course. The leg comes out again. Second time this match.
It's not really too bad, but this is a high magic spot, so those glares, if they go onto the wrong people, could be a problem.
Yeah, it's one of those fights that's kind of more annoying than it is too worrisome with the party that we have. But still, you know, yeah, and as we say that, of course, Palom instantly goes down, the person you want to get some experience and whatnot on, so a little bit annoying here, but...
Yeah. The good part about it is, though, glare is only single target. That you're going to be able to just raise the person up. The punches in this spot don't do almost anything. As long as you don't initiate the counterattacks that Rubiconte has, you will be fine. These nukes come out, the Ice Brand on Kane, you're fine. As proven by riversmccown. Moonblaze is going back in for that Peldim spot.
Oh, so we will get this check out of the way here, which is good. Means we're going to get some divergence here. Things are going to get cleared up a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be in a bit more of the know what the seed looks like for us, but our runners are going to be a bit more different paths, and not sure what each one is going to the other is doing, of course.
Yeah, usually when it gets to a divergence this late and they've gone in two separate paths, usually whichever one finds the item wins.
Yeah, we're pretty late into the game. Obviously, a lot of grinding and whatnot to do at this point. Like you said, if they find the item and get that go mode, then, you know, it's pretty smooth sailing after that, I think, for both of our runners here. And would you find Mylon C in the Peldim spot?
Yeah, fairly easy fight, really. This isn't a highly painful area. Yeah, it hits moderately hard, but considering that's all that Peldim usually does, it's not unmanageable.
No, not unmanageable at all. Lots of ways to get through Mylon, and you know the only thing he really does is hit you physically. So blink again, the extremely overpowered spell, going to work out very well here. And also, he has access to that Fire 3, he has access to nukes. Going to go down in pretty clear fashion here.
It also looks like he's got a fair number of undead resistance gears. Palom wasn't being hit for almost anything. Fu comes with that wizard hat, which gives that. So, yeah, plenty of ways to get around Mylon as just a protect ring, though. Yeah. Not too bad of an item. I'm placing it straight onto Fu, so he's going to be a little bit more protected in battle. Well, Rivers is going to say hello to Odin, who just wanted to say hi. He gave you your item at the start. He is the king of this place. And we throw a nuke in his face. Good job, Fu. Moonblaze is looking for value, though. So, again, Rivers has gone down to the earth to check this route. If there's something here for Moonblaze, it could slingshot him into a very good position. And apparently the guards have usurped the throne today, because why not? They couldn't decide which one of them was the king, so they just both took it. And that is still not Wyvern, so we still haven't seen Wyvern as a boss. But Peldim here, this is one of the highest hitting locations. Yeah, that could be a small issue, but Quakes, nukes should be fine. Cecil, though, did take a dive.
Yeah, Bahamut Spot having the highest attack powers in the game. Does not feel too nice getting hit by Beldam's quick succession of attacks here. Just the Crystal Helm sitting in that pot at Baron.
So we still are no closer to what we're actually looking for than before. Those Feymarsh bosses are looking more interesting right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, as you mentioned before, we still have 2 key items we need, so just because we get one of them doesn't mean we're ready to go just yet. And there is one of them. Blaze does find that legend sword at the Bahamut Spot.
So it could be a while before Rivers goes back. If this here is the twin harp, and Moonblaze goes and checks the Luca Cave next, Moonblaze could be on the path to go quicker than Rivers is, because Rivers looks like he's committed to the earth right now.
Yeah, and since he's down here already, it's going to be interesting to see if he says, if this leads to, like you said, if it leads to Twin Harp, and he goes through with that, and then continues on to do everything else. It makes sense logically, because you already have that stuff, and you have to go back to the ship and go back to the moon in order to continue checks. But yeah, really interesting to see here how this turns out. You find the Dark Elf in that Odin spot. Not too much to deal with here. Pretty fair, pretty free for Rivers. Got that Artemis arrow on Cecil doing some good damage.
Yeah, to answer you the boss. No, the boss is
and
the boss
there
is
we
in
go. So we're in no mode.
We're in no mode. The boss is in Feymarsh was Valvalis in the King spot. our Mega Sisters in the Queen spot. They are not required now. We know where everything for this seed is. And Moonblaze is just about to get his Excalibur.
Yeah, see a couple other nice items. We have Bacchus wines, a power shirt.
Those Bacchus wines are very nice. A power shirt, we've got one from the Troya Treasury. And a Gungnir Spear, I think it's actually an upgrade for Kane at this point in time.
Yeah, decently powerful spear for Kane. Yeah, we'll see if Blaze says I'm gonna go through with that sealed check, because like you said, he only has all he has to do is go through and follow Rivers here, and he is. So we've got a pretty interesting race here, because Rivers decides to clear everything else out on the moon, or on the Earth rather, along with this twin harp check. Gonna be tough.
Yeah, and I really see Rivers doing that Pale Dim spot first before Bahamut if he does go back to the moon after this. So as long as Moonblaze is set with what he's doing here, he doesn't need to go back to the moon at all. He doesn't need to go through another couple of cutscenes, and that pass is in his inventory.
Yeah, there's not too much between either of these runners, really, in terms of getting go mode. But of course, different for us on the side of we know where the things are, whether or not they choose correctly or how they choose to go forward is going to be kind of the decision maker here. And it's going to be interesting to see what Twin Harp actually holds, as Chat Pass points out. Worst case would basically be something like a tower key, where you have to, which is the only rabbit hole Rivers would have left to open up, which of course pushes him to continue to tower, big time sink there, not what he wants to do really.
Yeah, but before all that, we need to treat the chat to the music. It's been required since the start of the game, so enjoy everyone. DJ A Spoony Bard Edward is just about to give you your tunes. I think we've overloaded chat. We've got Matoya's theme of very popular Twin Harp music on one side, and on the other we've got Leg.
I'm not sure if chat can really handle this much hype on screen at one time.
Yeah.
And Blaze getting through that Rubicon very quickly. Going to be quickly checking that Baron key if I had to guess. You know, you go through that rabbit hole, I don't think you do much else. Just a Sand Ruby, then that's kind of best case scenario for Rivers here at Twin Harp. We're going to see if he says, okay, I'm going after those Fame Rich bosses, or I'm going to do Keyless Tower, or if he says, nope, back to the moon for me. I'm going to finish the spots that are left open.
Yeah. This is the big decision point for Rivers. Does he stick on the Earth and pretty much hand the seed to Moonblaze as long as Moonblaze goes to Baron next? Or does he go to the moon, back to the moon and say game on?
it's definitely nice too. Blaze already has that Excal Forge too. So one thing he does have, and Rivers is going after that Keyless Tower play. You know, I can't hate it here. You're one key item out. So, you know, getting checks done that are actually fairly fast. Keyless Tower being one of them that doesn't take that long. You can reset out once it's not the, you know, if it's the only rabbit hole opens, Tower Key, and it's a couple floors down. But still, this is a time sink he doesn't want here, since we know just how close this race is right now.
Yeah, and because of that one key item and the levels that he's got right now, Val and Mako Sisters also look available.
Absolutely. The farther you get into the seed, the more those Fey March bosses look like, hey, those look like pretty quick checks for me to get them out of the way. Of course, like we know, every check that he adds on here before going back to the moon means extra time for Blaze to get the lead or continue to lead, depending on how things are going here.
Yeah. Does Moonblaze go and check the Odin throne first, or does he go the safe route of finishing up the castle itself?
Yeah, I've seen some runners do the Odin spot first, usually if it's something to do with an objective related to that spot, which is nice because if you do that and you get the item there, you can leave, you know, the long way, but you can still leave without going through the rest of it. But I would say here, Blaze is going to finish the whole thing out here. Be safe about it.
Yeah. Be safe. Make sure this is still a key item check. If this gets done and it's the correct one, you're fine. We know it's not, but he's still in the correct location for the correct item.
Yeah, and the thing is too, we know, you know, this is guards fight really fast. There isn't even a crumble animation here because there's 2 sprites on the screen. And we know it's Dark Elf fight down in that Odin spot. Another fight that's not going to take Blaze any time at all. And he's going to be in good mode.
Especially with an Excalibur which quadruples the damage against Dark Elf and its dragon form.
Yeah, he's going to be just ripping through Dark Elf both forms. And Rivers does check tower very quickly there.
And is going to Feymarsh. Looked like he was in 2 minds. I'm taking that little right turn first, but yeah, Feymarsh is on his mind.
Yeah. As chat points out, we know that one of these spots will have the tower key too. It's at that point that, you know, you put the time to that, you really can't just, you know, say, I'm not going to do this. You pretty well have to convince yourself that you have to do it.
Yeah, he made the decision after finishing half the moon to say, let's go down. Let's find the items down there. I've got 2 checks here. I've got more down on the earth. There's more play down there. Unfortunately, Legend Sword was value today.
Yeah. And as Invenerable does point out in chat, Rivers did take a 0-1 deficit to Penguin last round and pulled out the win in that one. That's what the really nice thing about these best of 3s is we can see a whole lot else get hauled out over a span of 3 games. So, of course, first game, both runners probably testing the waters, trying some things out, maybe playing a bit conservatively, but we have a whole series left to go here, folks.
Yeah. Also feeling out the competition and trying to get an idea of how they play. They've likely checked out now the previous VODs of their races before, so they've got a good idea. But this, for actually facing each other, is a completely different matter. This is this is 1v1, and you want to know what's coming up and how they would change their strategies for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. 1v1, I think this format of tournament has been super interesting to watch, just to the fact of, you know, you have 2 runners that are playing just against each other. So there's metagaming, there's metagaming of the metagaming happening, there's metagaming of the metagaming of the metagaming happening. It goes a lot of layers deep here.
Yeah. And there's that tower key. Does he stay for Val? That's the boss Val, not our restreamer, by the way.
Looks like he might do a save here, do a quick exit out if I had to guess. Check that tower key, come on back, and finish out the rest.
And he's exiting.
Yeah.
So Val is not on his idea. I believe he's made a save there, so he's going to check this and maybe reset back here if there's nothing, which there won't be. And Moonblaze is going to look at that twin harp, have a smile on his face and say, I'm done.
Now, as Chad has pointed out already, there is, we can't get ahead of ourselves here. Of course, Blaze in a good position, but we've seen things happen with the Zermus fight before. The fight isn't that trivial. Even with the team we have, things can go wrong. Most experienced runners have been taken down of Zermus more times than any of us can count, I think, at this point.
Yeah, just because we've got go doesn't mean we've done. Because, as you said, Zeromus is no joke. He's the final boss for a reason. And he has a lot of things going for him. And if you're not prepared, he'll take you down quick.
We do find our little wyvern hanging out in the tower key spot. He was there all along.
One of the lowest HP spots in the game, unfortunately. So just a mini wyvern today. You're just getting a little look at him.
And of course, we get the extra music coming in here shortly on Blaze's screen with that required music objective. I think required music should be on every objective set. That's just me. I don't know.
Well, if it's on every objective set, it sort of takes away the novelty sometimes. I suppose.
I can see that. I can see that.
Rivers is going to be sorely disappointed because this is only going to be an item that he likely doesn't want. It might be a good item, but he's definitely not going to want it.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a pretty quick reset back to that Val fight here.
It's a pretty good item, but he doesn't want it. So
we have our crystal, so Blaze
he can't exactly just walk out, unfortunately.
Can't just walk out. He does have to.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, there's no press B to jump this time. So.
He can choose to not grab the item here and just walk out, I guess, if he so chooses to do so. I've done that once before. It's a bit of a swag move once you do have the crystal there. But you do have to do the fight.
Yeah, but this fight isn't a problem at all.
So fast. Just wait for a couple waves to happen, and you're through.
Yeah, with Teller having that cursed ring on, it actually makes a DKC in that fight a relative one, so those dark waves come out thick and fast, and he's walking out without the item.
Forget that item. I don't need any more cutscenes. I'm ready to go, is what Blaze is thinking. And totally
Yeah.
agreed. He is. We're going to see Zero Miss pretty shortly here.
Yeah, he's got plenty of levels. He's got that Barkus wine that he picked up from Kakol's shop, as well as the one he got from the Antlion fight. Right, he's got a Fu.
Excal, I mean, it's pretty much the dream of damage, I think.
Yeah. You haven't got Nukon Palom, but with this, you're going to be focusing more on Cecil's Excalibur doing the damage.
Poidric, I believe there's a little something we like to ask ourselves at this point in the seed.
Really? Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. What is it?
Whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Oh, that question. Yeah, I'd never asked that question.
Yeah, we like to do a fantastic thing here, care of Scalakitty, where we randomize what sprite we actually get for the Zeramis fight here. So Zeramis will come up on screen, and when we transform with that crystal, we'll see a bit better looking of a sprite rather than that ugly Zeramis form that we typically see on the final boss here. So we're going to see.
I don't know what you mean. That sprite is amazing. And it's full of jagged edges. It's got eyes all over it. It's got a fairly visible skeleton and muscle mass.
I've had at least 10 nightmares about it. I don't know about anyone else.
Well, let's hope we get one of its variants. Maybe googlies.
I can deal with googlies. Maybe even scarier than Zemus is the moon from Majora's Mask. A bit of a fast Zemus here on Blaze's screen. I don't believe he had a chance to actually nerf that first Big Bang.
Oh, definitely not from the amount of damage that came out.
Not sure if he maybe didn't have that curse ring on intelligence yet. That was a very fast Zemus.
I think he level 41 Teller, so with a curse string, I think the agility is up to around about 4 or 5.
Yeah, so still very low. Still definitely well within the threshold of everyone being RA1.
It might have been Fu being in the top spot rather than one of the melee fighters that brought that along. A faster Zeromus.
Yeah, that Zeromus was holding no punches there. And you really do want to, of course, get out early slow, get that early nerf for the Big Bang, as well as slow down Zeromus a little bit. This allows Rivers to catch up a little bit of time here. He is on the fight that will lead him to that Legend Sword. And all he does need to do is forge it and go to his fight as well. So...
Moonblaze on his second attempt, and I'm not sure if he reduced the battle speed down a little bit. That might help a small amount. Has swapped Palom to the top.
Yeah, trying out this turn order, hoping that it does a little bit better work for him this time. Always something that you can do. If your turn order isn't working out for you, your agility seems a bit mismatched, flip your characters around a little bit, see what works.
Yeah.
And as we said going into this, most experienced of runners, Zeromus fight, if something goes south or it doesn't go the way that you're expecting it to, man, he can hurt.
Yeah. My likely preferred order for this moment would still be Teller in the middle, but Cecil came on the top and bottom spots with the two casters on the back row. Get those berserks out quick to clock that queue, let one of the casters probably Palom throw the silk web as the 4th turn, and then Fu heal up whoever it got hit by the nuke.
He does get that silk web off early here. He does get his Bacchuses in. He's going to be... We're going to see a lot of damage numbers coming up. I think this fight's going to go really smooth this time.
Yeah, and Rivers is through that fight. He's got his Legend Sword. He is on his way.
Really at the heels of Blaze here.
Which is sort of interesting because it's been the opposite for the majority of the seed. Just that little bit of an earth play that Rivers did, it just cost him.
Yeah, those choices, Rivers did an amazing job of clearing this seed quickly. Blaze as well. But of course, those, that's the thing at this elite level of play is just a couple of wrong choices, and you can go down a bit of a hole that will get you that just a couple extra minutes that will cost you the race.
There's a shake. Is he going to try and nerf this, or just take the hit and cure up afterwards? I would assume just take the hit, not waste any time. Let those characters just wail away. And yeah, there's the instant cure for after the Big Bang.
Yeah, just getting the heals on the characters here. Kane and Cecil doing tons of damage. Doesn't even have to worry too much about any of these other characters, really. Just gotta make sure Fu stays up, some healing, takes care of his team.
And Fu does have that protect ring, so he's got even more defense than he usually does. Still a very fast run, but really this is a manageable fight from this point. Just make sure you're ahead of the healing and you're fine.
Exactly. We just kind of hope that, and like you said, he has some decent equipment on that Fu. He should be able to dodge enough rolls that he's not going to get wiped by Big Bang here. And our other characters have enough HP that they'll be just fine.
Yeah. Was a bit of a higher roll on Kane, but to be honest, as long as Cecil stays up and is above a little bit of above that threshold of say 2,400 health, I'm not really worried.
No, it's such a nice thing of having that Cecil with that Excal. Like the constant damage that he does is just really nice. And finding those Bacchus ones with the gold shot really paying off here as well. Giving that extra damage, easily applying Zurkon's characters, and we have procs, folks.
Yeah, so no worries here. There's another Bacchus wine. Is a little bit of low health. Those meteors are still going to come out and likely hit the front two. But Fu is a champ at dodging today. And there it is. He has the flash things off, the flash effects off, so we didn't see the flash, but with him, with Moonimus going and sort of dipping down into the ether, Moonblazewolf has won today.
Blaze is up 1-0 in this series to start off. GG to Blaze. An official time of 1:45:24.
And we're going to see if we can get him in and talk to him a little bit. Meanwhile, Rivers is starting his Zeromus fight now. Okay. Moonblaze is going to take a few moments extra just to breathe and taking a page out of Rivers' book. Why do I get the feeling he had this planned?
I don't think this is something he just did on the fly. Queuing up some Mighty Ducks for us.
Well, at least we now now know why he's wanting to take the extra time. He wants to watch this back as well.
I would too, you know, I can appreciate that. River's also in this Ceramus fight now.
Yeah, pretty much the same position as Moonblaze in terms of team composition. Got a couple of extra levels on his fighters, but it looks like Palom is still well below the nuke. So
yeah, we're gonna see a very similar fight to what Blaze just pulled out, I think.
Likely, even with the same weapons, it looks like Kane's still got that Rune Axe. It's been good for him the entire seed. Why change it now? And that Excalibur Cecil and Cure 4 on Fu.
Yeah, that Rune Axe did a lot of work this seed. That's for sure. I think that was a pretty early get, and that was just, you know, right from the beginning.
Yeah, it was found in Damcian, which was some of the first early loot spots. So Kane has made mighty use of that from beginning to end. Just sitting on Fu, same strategy. Why change a good thing? Cure 4's when the big bangs come out. The only slight divergence that has happened here is Moonblaze did use Ice Free on Palom a few times, just for a little bit of extra damage.
Yeah, I know it's one thing talked with the Rivers a bit about before in terms of reflex strats and spell strats. Sometimes, depending on how you're playing it, you want to throw out the spells. Sometimes you don't want to because they are long cast time, or not even so much cast time, but the animations on them can actually take a little bit of extra time versus just your fighters doing the damage. So it's one of those things that's, if you want the extra damage, it's good, but also if you just want to avoid the animations, also fun.
And there's rocks. Yeah, so very quick, very smooth.
Less than 5 minutes between our runners on this seed. Again, such a close race, just goes to show.
And there it is. There's the flash. There's Moonimus dropping down into the ether once again. And Rivers has finished.
Yeah, GG to Rivers. Super well played by both our runners on this one. We're going to see if we can get both of them in for an interview at the same time. I believe we're joined by Blaze and Rivers. As I say that, GG to both of you.
Yeah, GG.
Thanks. It was actually a lot closer than it looked on the restream, as you noticed with the time that just got put up there.
Oh
wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. We did have that little bit of a down period in the middle of that with Rivers stream, so likely the delay got
yes, that makes
extended
sense.
or something.
Bless you, AT&T. Bless you so much. You're the best.
Yeah. So, yeah, we didn't see it, but this was even closer than we thought. So, great race between the two of you. That Zeroma Sprite sort of epitomized what happened with that seed as well, didn't it? Moon, that Bahamut spot, Rivers, why did you go back down to the earth after that? Just quick run for there before finishing the moon.
Well, I just want to say that there is one guy who comments on all of our YouTubes that I play in and is like, "Hey, Rivers always picks the right spot to go to. Where? I just want to see him spin this one. I want to see that spin. Show me that spin. But okay, so to answer your question for real, I left tower unguarded. I left that behind. I know that Blaze kind of has a tendency to play Keyless Tower, and once I went down there, started checking, it dawned on me that it was either going to be there and I'd be behind, so I had to go do it, or it was, there's also possible that he would take out that Mega Sister fight with the Rune Axe early. So both of those were kind of targets in my head where I'm like, if Blaze did this early, he might have a jump on me right now. So I kind of felt committed to both those spots.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And Moonblaze, it obviously it looked because of the difference, it looked a lot closer. You seem to be snapping at River's heels throughout the entirety of that before just peeling away at the end because of staying on the moon. What kept you there?
I mean, I still needed multiple things at that point, and where I got the sword was my last check on the moon. So I mean, I didn't really want to go back down to Earth with 2 things left to find, and at that point I had the Luca key, which that's good. But then I had that ugly Fame Arch, which I had deliberately avoided. It seemed pretty easy to avoid regardless, because there was no way you're going to take on that Velvalis early on. And I don't know, the seed just struck me as pretty linear on the whole, and I really was committed right from the very beginning just to full clearing the moon. And that started right with my very first check when I went to the Wyvern spot before I went all the way down to the bottom, just because I had 9 key items at that point. I really wanted to find 10 before I got to the ribbon spot, and it took a couple cracks, but we got there. So
Yeah, this seed, if you guys watch it back, is a bit of a treat just how tight it was at the end there. And obviously, like you said, it was even tighter than we thought it was, with the time difference getting factored in after the fact. So it was like every decision Rivers would make, be like, oh, is he going to go check those Fame Arch Masters, or does he go back now? Because at that point, we did know that you had already seen the Legend Sword on the moon. But of course, it made sense to stick it out and continue to clear things on the Earth with, the where you were, Rivers. But yeah, it's really, really tight.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, it's just really the choices that you made. You sort of diverged after finishing the bottom half of the moon, and Rivers went back to the Earth. Moonblaze, you stayed on the thing on the moon, and that was really the difference. Whichever found it quicker after that was done. The early sort of game, you found characters very quickly, and this isn't exactly a bad team going through the entire lot. Even the Porum and the Yang that were in the seed sort of gave you all the characters you wanted, didn't it?
yeah, I mean, I had my team like ready to go, pretty much like 12 minutes into the seed or something like that. After I got the package and I got the sea slime, like, oh cool, I got a black mage, a white mage, an anchor, and 2 melee characters that are good. I know I'm gonna have an Xcal, so I was just kind of cruising at that point, and then finding the food was really nice, obviously, on top of that. But yeah, there wasn't really a lot of concern there. And it was nice to get through kind of cleanly, getting the party sort of accumulated in a good order and getting good XP on them before doing that hook route.
Yeah, Rivers actually faded getting Cecil from the package at Kaipo. Rivers, what made you choose to do that there?
Well, I know I had to look at the character anyway, so I was going to check it, obviously. Saw DKC, knew that wouldn't be immediately helpful. Obviously, long-term, very helpful. And so was like, you know what, Kaipo, you can have him. You can have him. It's fine. It's fine. And luckily found him on Earth, on top of Earth Tower anyway. If I hadn't, probably would have gone back for him, but just kind of the choices you make in the moment.
Yeah, made sense for sure, because you knew he had a lot of character checks left, and it worked out. We were kind of, bit begrudgingly about the seed early on, because it said, it's giving you a foo, it's giving you, you're going to get an Xcal at some point. It's too easy. But then you had some pretty kind of annoying bosses on the moon, that Baigan and Antline. How did you, Blaze, how did you feel clearing out that moon? Did you feel you were behind at any point, or did you feel like you're kind of neck and neck? Obviously can't see the stream, so it's different for when you're in it.
I mean, I felt like getting through the hook route when I did, I felt like it was probably a push at best because if you check everything, you get the foo, you've probably got all of his spells already. So it's sort of just like a race from that point on, and nothing's really going to get in your way. I felt like that moon was going to be a lot easier than it actually was because I was looking at my boss list and there was a lot of pretty free stuff up there or like out there at that point still, but I mean, aside from the Kaipo guards, it was a pretty tough moon. I thought I was gonna wipe to that antlion my first fight up there, and it didn't get much easier after that, with the exception of that Kaipo guard fight.
Yeah, but that Kaipo guard fight gave you the 10th key item, which is exactly what you wanted for going into the next fight. I saw her in that ribbon room, so there was your experience coming in, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too bad, but I really wanted to get that 10th key item right away before getting to the ribbon spot, like I was saying earlier. So, I mean, it kind of just worked out pretty well. All the routing that I did tonight seemed pretty good, and I know not every seed that happens, so I'm definitely counting my blessings to get through this one with the win. I mean, even with just a couple minutes. I made a couple of small errors, and obviously that first time into Zeromus, I was not expecting him to be as fast as he was. And also I forgot what it's like to use Bacchus wine, which is actually like really refreshing. So,
Yeah, we saw
I
his
got
score.
through it, made I was just gonna say, got through it, made a couple small mistakes, but a couple good things to tighten up and improve on, and hopefully we'll have another good match or two here.
Yeah. So you're one up. So you've got at minimum. Well, you're one win away from actually getting into the final. What are your thoughts about going forward for this?
I mean, I've been playing this format now for, it feels like, a month, so I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. And, Rivers plays his way. I'm sure he's probably feeling more or less the same way. The completion percentage for most of these seeds is just so high. You have to kind of just, play it a way that makes sense to you and is kind of logical, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. There's a couple more seeds. They can be rude, they can be jetty, or, have some interesting twists and turns, but yeah, I mean, it's really nice just to be up by one game, and I hope we have another good race or two still. So.
And Rivers, is that true? You're one down now. Going to change anything up?
Probably not. I mean, I'll go to sleep tonight, obviously, and kind of mind blank the seed, because really not a whole lot to take away from that. I don't think I make any major mistakes. Just kind of happened that the crystal was where it was, and that happens sometimes. So I'll just take a little break here, get back tomorrow. Hopefully we can even it up and keep putting on some good races for people.
Oh yeah, that's right, we're doing it tomorrow. Hope everybody comes back and checks that out tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's awesome to have another night right after the other. So Blaze, any finishing thoughts on this one? Anything you want to add?
I mean, not really. Just thanks everybody for coming on out and watching us. I'm glad we put on a good show for y'all, and I think we got another semifinal to go check out. So I hope everybody tags along and watches the second half of the doubleheader tonight.
Yeah. And any last words, Rivers, as well? Just
you hate to see it.
Well, you technically only had to do one trip to Fabul, even though you did do two.
Let me tell you, I knew I was in trouble when I dismissed Proops. Proops is the best guy on the show, so.
Yeah. So, but as they've said, there is another semi-final going on today. Invenerable versus Flurry 14. We are going to be raiding in that race. It is probably a few minutes in and on the stream now. So go and enjoy that. Enjoy a lot more racing. We've got another couple of fantastic races is coming up, hopefully between these two. So cheer everyone on. We've got an amazing week ahead of us. So have a good evening and yeah, enjoy.
See you, everyone.